my warning, maidens all, that wear gold in your hair, keep well awa frae Carter Hall, for young Tamlin is there. But Janet's kilted her green gown a little above her knee, and she's awa to Carter Hall, the young Tamlin to see. She met him by a grassy grove, he's kissed her tenderly, he's laid her low among the flowers, no more a maid is she. Now ere my bairn is born, Tamlin, you'll surely marry me. Na Janet dear, though thee I love, this thing it cannot be, my love, this thing it cannot be. For once when I'd a hunting gone, 'twas frae my horse I fell, the queen o' fairies she caught me in yon green hill to dwell. And at the end of 7 years she pays a tithe to hell, and should she ken I've lain with thee, I'm feared it be myself, my love, I'm feared it be myself. Janet pulled the double rose and swore the bairn must die. Now Janet dear, there's one way yet to save the bairn and I. Just at the mirk and the midnighter, the fairy folk will ride, then pull me frae the milk white steed, and you shall be my bride, my love, and you shall be my bride. Oh, gloomy, gloomy was the night, and eerie was the way, as Janet hid among the trees, the fairy folk to spy. It's first she saw the black, black steed, and then she saw the brown, but Tam rode on the milk-white steed, and she pulled him to the ground. The fairies shaped him in her arms, a bear sae grim and wild, but Janet held him to her breast, the father o' her child. The fairies shaped him in her arms, a roebuck and a snake, but Janet held him to her breast, all for a true love's sake. The fairies shaped him in her arms, a burning man o' fire, but still she held him to her breast, to be her heart's desire. They shaped him in her arms at last, a wild and naked man, but still she held him to her breast, and so she won Tamlin, Tamlin, and so she won Tamlin. 'Twas out then spake the elfin queen, an angry queen was she, for Janet stole the bonniest knight in all her company. Had I but known Tamlin, she said, before I left my home, I would have changed your heart of flesh for one of hardest stone, Tamlin, for one of hardest stone.
Hello, it's the witching hour. This is Exe Files on Phonic FM 106.8 and online at phonic.fm. I am, as the more astute of you will have probably noticed, this is not Alison Rockbrand. Both she and Richard Freeman are away this week, so I am here with...
Well, I'm Jez, and I am not Richard Freeman. I'm Jez. Both me and Jonathan work in the Oxfam Music Shop, so there's a bit of a crossover here. We have a show on Wednesday afternoon, so basically we're going to be playing music with a magical and mysterious air to it tonight, which essentially means it's mostly going to be folk, isn't it, Jonathan?
But folk with slightly strange stories involved.
Yes.
That seems to be there seems to be this thing that you can... things that can only really take place in the folklore of folk music.
Yeah, well, folk kind of delves back into that kind of pre-Reformation, early Christian or pre-Christian England.
Absolutely,
which is steeped with magic and mystery and the supernatural.
Even when it does come into the Christian period, there's still kind of the Christian bits just kind of
it's entwined,
because
isn't it?
They kind of feel they have to.
Yeah, the
like
Christianity of the pre-Reformation period is entwined with paganism irrefutably, and there's no escaping that. They kind of fuse together. It's like Christianity gets twined around with this kind of pagan ivy, doesn't it? Which,
in my opinion, makes it a lot more fun.
Exactly, yeah. And that first one we had was the classic border period, the border ballad Tamlin, sung there. I mean, we may all be familiar with that from the Fairport Convention version, sung inimitably by Sandy Denny. But that one was sung by a Scottish singer called Alistair MacDonald, who infuses it with the kind of border language and makes it Scottish again. And I love that version. I particularly love the kind of psych folky flute, which gives it that mysterious, kind of airy feel, and
really interesting. And
but that was all about it's a song talking about the fairy world, isn't it? And the incursions of the fairy world into the human world and the negotiations that take place.
That's a story that seems to kind of crop up again and again. Is that sort of mortals getting led off to? There's a whole list of things which are sort of not supposed to do to avoid. There's the apparently, according to that, picking roses. Definitely a no-no. The one that I was always taught was eating food from in the fairy kingdom. That's supposed to be a way of getting caught.
Well, that's the central plot element of Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market, of course, as well. The real pre-Raphaelite version of the fairy kingdom.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. The other, there's also from that kind of folklore a lot of sort of anecdotal stories of how to avoid getting sort of getting taken off by the fairies, which, as I understand, include iron. Apparently, with the exception of, I believe, some of the fairies that you may come across in Scandinavian countries have an affinity for iron.
Right.
And I think there's supposed to be one clan somewhere in East Anglia that has a liking for it. But generally, wearing iron anywhere on your person deters fairies. Also, wearing clothes inside out, apparently.
Okay, just to confuse
them.
That's also an aspect of guising, the traditional practice of guising. Guising meaning disguising, and people who were guisers and went round, performing mummers plays or wassailing or whatever kind of traditional rituals involved guising would turn their clothes inside out to
so it's more than just it's more than just appearing different, it's actually taking on a different taking on a different
I guess
it's
guise.
that kind of mythos of masks, of literally becoming something else by
transforming yourself, becoming someone else.
Well,
hang on, I'll just you carry on, John. I'll head off to our next song, which is that song was all about getting around the Queen of Fairies and sort of
Well,
the Queen of Fairies was the adversary in that song. In this song, at the end, although this is what's usually sung as a song, Alison Gross, the song about the ugliest witch in the North Country, but here we're going to see it actually, or hear it actually read out by Ewan MacColl in a very Scottish manner. So if we just fade that up, we will hear Ewan MacColl.
Oh, Alison Gross that lives in yon tower, the ugliest witch of the North Country, has trysted me ae day up till her bower, and mony fair speech she made to me. She stroked my head and she combed my hair, and she set me down softly on her knee. Says, "Gin ye will be my leman sae true, sae mony braw things as I would ye gie." She showed me a mantle o' red scarlet, wi' golden flowers and fringes fine. Says, "Gin ye will be my leman sae true, this goodly gift it shall be thine." Awa, ye ugly witch, hard for awa and let me be. I never will be your leman sae true, and I wish I were out of your company. She neist brocht a sark o' the softest silk, weel rocht wi' pearls about the ban. Says, "Gin ye will be my ain true love, this goodly gift ye shall command." She showed me a cup o' the good red gowd, weel set wi' jewels sae fair to see. Says, "Gin ye will be my leman sae true, this goodly gift I will ye gie." Awa, ye ugly witch, hard for awa and let me be, for I wouldna ains kiss your ugly mouth for all the gifts that ye could gie. She's turned a recht and round about, and thrice she blawn a grass-green horn, and she swear by the moon and the stars aboon that she'd guard me rue the day I was born. Then out has she ta'en a silver wand, and she's turned her 3 times round and round. She's muttered sick words till my strength had failed, and I fell down senseless upon the grun. She's turned me into an ugly worm, and garred me toddle about the tree. And I on ilka Saturday's night, my sister Misery came to me, with silver basin and silver came, to came my Heidi upon her knee. But ere I had kissed her ugly mouth, I'd rather I toddled about the tree. But as it fell out on last Hallow even, when the seely court was riding by, the Queen lighted down on a gowany bank, nae far frae the tree where I wont to lie. She took me up in her milk-white horn, and she stroked me 3 times o'er her knee. She changed me again to my ain proper shape, and I nae mair mun toddle about the tree.
There lived a lady by the North Sea shore, lay the ben to the bonny broom. 2 daughters were the babes she bore. Fa la 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 la. As one grew bright as is the sun, lay the ben to the bonny broom. So coal black grew the elder one. Fa la 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 la. A knight came riding to the lady's door, lay the ben to the bonny broom. He travelled far to be their wooer. Fa la 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 la. He courted one with gloves and rings, lay the ben to the bonny broom. But he loved the other above all things. Fa la 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 la. sister, will you go with me? Lay the band to the bonny broom to watch the ships sail on the sea. La 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 la. She took her sister by the hand. Lay the band to the bonny broom and led her down to the North Sea strand. La 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 la. And as they stood on the windy shore, lay the band to the bonny broom, the dark girl threw her sister o'er. La 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 la. Sometimes she sang, sometimes she swam. Lay the band to the bonny broom, crying, sister, reach to me your hand. La 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 la. Oh sister, sister, let me live. Lay the band to the bonny broom, and all that's mine I'll surely give. La 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 la. Your own true love that I'll have and more. Lay the band to the bonny broom, but thou shalt never come ashore. La 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 la. And there she floated like a swan. Lay the band to the bonny broom, the salt sea bore her body on. La 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 la. Two minstrels walked along the strand. Lay the band to the bonny broom, and saw the maiden float to land. La 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 la. They've made a harp of her breastbone. Lay the band to the bonny broom, whose sound would melt a heart of stone. La 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 la. They took 3 locks of her yellow hair. Lay the band to the bonny broom, and with them strung the harp so rare. La 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 la. They went into her father's hall. Lay the band to the bonny broom, to play the harp before them all. La 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 la. But as they laid it on a stone, lay the band to the bonny broom, the harp began to play alone. La 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 la. The first string sang a doleful sound. Lay the band to the bonny broom, the bride her younger sister drowned. La 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 la. The second string, as that they tried, lay the band to the bonny broom. In terrace sits the black-haired bride. La 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 la. The third string sang beneath their bow. Lay the band to the bonny broom, and surely now her tears will flow. La 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 la.
Exeter Sound Alternative.
Phonic FM.
Well, that was Pentangle with Cruel Sister, a classic folk tale of a sister murdering her dearly beloved, and then a group of minstrels coming along and taking the body and making a harp out of the rib cage.
Yes,
only in folk music.
Isn't folk music lovely and pretty and full of bodies and gruesome stuff?
Yeah.
Seems to be much more that than pretty dances and But that's really getting to the primal side of folk music, isn't it? It is. That's what it's about. It's not about pretty dances around in a circle. It's
and the music that's made by the ribcage harp basically condemns those who've done the murder.
Who thinks there's a skeleton there? You know what? I reckon I'm going to make an instrument out of it. Yes. So another kind of archetype of folklore and indeed of folk music, which we talk a lot about, is the Wheel of the Year and the different festivals that take place at different times.
And mark the times of the ritual year, which were always associated with the farming year, but also with a sense of the sacred associated with that, also there was an element of people kind of going for not sacrifices, but seeking a kind of trying to get around the idea of begging, but basically people going around from door to door seeking alms or seeking money for various things.
So at Yule you have your wassailing.
Yeah. But you also have your pace egging songs, which took place at various parts, which is what we're going to hear now.
Here's 1, 2, 3 jolly lads all in one mind. We are come a pace again, and I hope you'll prove kind. And I hope you'll prove kind with your eggs and strong beer. For we'll come no more nigh you until the next year. And the first that comes in is Lord Nelson, you'll see, with a bunch of blue ribbons tied around by his knee, and a star on his breast that like silver doth shine. And I hope he remembers it's pace egging time. Here's 1, 2, 3 jolly lads all in one mind. We are come a pace again, and I hope you'll prove kind. And I hope you'll prove kind with your eggs and strong beer. For we'll come no more nigh you until the next year. And the next that comes in, it is Lord Collingwood, and he fought with Lord Nelson till he shed his blood. And he's come from the sea, old England to view, and he's come a pace egging with the whole of his crew. Here's 1, 2, 3 jolly lads all in one mind. We are come a pace again, and I hope you'll prove kind. And I hope you'll prove kind with your eggs and strong beer. For we'll come no more nigh you until the next year. And the last that comes in is old Tosspot, you'll see. He's a valiant old man and in every degree. He's a valiant old man and he wears a pigtail, and all his delight is a drinking mulled ale. Here's 1, 2, 3 jolly lads all in one mind. We are come a pace again, and I hope you'll prove kind. and I hope you'll prove kind with your eggs and strong beer. But we'll come no more nigh you until the next year. Come, ladies and gentlemen, sit by the fire. Put your hands in your pockets and give us a desire. Put your hands in your pockets and treat us all right. If you give nought, we'll take nought. Farewell and good night. Here's 1, 2, 3 jolly lads all in one mind. We are come a pace again, and I hope you'll prove kind. And I hope you'll prove kind with your eggs and strong beer. But we'll come no more nigh you until the next year.
Well, that's kind of a story of going around and blackmailing people for food and beer.
Which was pretty much what was done on lots of ritual occasions. That was the Watersons with the pace egging song. And I've got my book here, which says the pace eggs customs were widely reported in Lancashire, Cheshire, parts of Yorkshire, Cumbria, Northumberland and County Durham. And many were also recorded in Scotland. But the standard 19th century folklore collections from elsewhere in England make little reference to eggs at Easter. Indeed, they hardly mention the season at all as a time for a traditional custom. In those northern areas, a series of varied but overlapping customs concerned with collecting eggs and using them in various ways existed throughout the 19th and well into the 20th century. They could be rolled on the ground, bashed together like conkers, kept for show, made into special Easter cakes, or simply eaten then and there. They might be decorated grandly or simply by the donors or the recipients, or they might feature somewhat marginally in an Easter version of the Mummers play. Any of these customs could be called pace egging, although this was often rendered as peace egging, pash egging or paste egging. This term is clearly derived from pash, the Latin for Easter, a word that would presumably have been familiar to English people from church services, and it has been used with this meaning in English since at least 1385. But the egg itself is it's very redolent of Eostra, isn't it?
Yeah, very primal.
It's all about the kind of life waiting to be born.
Absolutely, and also, of course, around time of Eostra, there's the link up between eggs and hares and all sorts of different.
Yeah. Is there some sort of link between the association with hares and eggs? Wasn't there some confusion with skylarks laying their eggs in amongst?
Yes, I'm not sure where that came from, but someone decided that skylarks were laying eggs that were turning into hares because. Why the hell not?
Yeah, but there was certainly some.
It works as a basis.
Some idea at some point that hares were laying eggs, and hence the association with hares, eggs, and Easter.
Yeah, indeed. Something which you were talking to me earlier about is your some work you've done preparing notes for the folklore tapes, which is a collection of.
Well, the Folklore Tapes Collective have done a number of things associated with folkloric tales. Obviously, they started off down here in Exeter. There's a guy called David Chatton Barker and his friend Ian Humberston who set up Folklore Tapes when they were living in Exeter. They've now headed off various parts of this country, but are keeping up the Folklore Tapes family. And one of the things they do is a series of calendar customs releases which look at the various times of the year. They've looked at Halloween so far and also May and midwinter. So they're making music or creating sort of sound sculptures in a way that reflect these various times of year.
So not necessarily music kind of in and of itself in a music form, but more kind of expressions of
sort of things which
of the season and of
the rituals of particular times of year. And we've got one here which is associated with May, and this is by a guy called Rob St John, who is making May music.
leaves and the leaves of life are met with virgins 7, and one of them was Mary Maid, our Lord's best mother in heaven. Oh, what are you seeking, you 7 pretty maids, all under the leaves of life? We are seeking for no leaves, Thomas, but for a friend of thine. Go down into yonder town and sit in the gallery, and there you'll see sweet Jesus Christ nailed to a big yew tree. So down they went into yonder town as fast as foot could fall, and many a bitter and a grievous tear from them virgins' eyes did fall. Oh, peace, mother, your weeping does me grieve, but I will suffer this, he said, for Adam and for Eve. Oh, how can I my weeping leave, my sorrows undergo, while I do see my own son die, and sons I have no more. He's laid his head on his right shoulder, and death has struck him nigh. The Holy Ghost be with your soul, sweet mother, no more death. Oh, the rose, the gentle rose, the fennel it grows so strong. Amen, good Lord, your charity is the ending of my song.
Exeter Sound Alternative.
Phonic FM.
Well, that was really nice.
Yeah, it's Rob St. John, really good musician associated with the Folklore Tapes collective, with his evocation of Mayday rituals. I have the pleasure of being involved with the Folklore Tapes guys. They're all really lovely people, and I did the notes for that. Particular release. They, as I said, they all started out in Devon, but have moved off to various places. But we met up for a festival down in Cornwall the other year and produced some fantastic music there, along with readings of folklore and stories associated with Cornwall in particular.
Yes, and you're now going to read out some of.
Yeah,
You've
sure.
got some of the notes that you.
This is about
published with the
Yeah,
with the tapes.
They were notes that accompanied the tapes and the music and soundscapes that went with the folklore tapes. Calendar Customs release based around May Day. So here's a little bit of those. May Day is one of the turning points of the year, the moment when the transformations of the season's cycles are ritually observed and celebrated. The eve of May displays an obverse-faced Halloween's soot-blackened mask, fixed on the diametrically opposed arc of the slowly spinning annular globe. Both have origins in the Celtic pastoral or livestock farming year, and the solar festivals which lent it formal division. Samhain marked its end, and the end of the year as a whole, on the last day of October, Beltane its new May beginning. Samhain heralded the months of darkness, Beltane opened the door to summer. Fires were lit on both occasions to invoke the sun and anticipate or celebrate its return. After Samhain, the fires would retreat inside, much diminished, to be tended on in the hearth. Beltane saw them coming outdoors again, stoked into blazing conflagrations to reflect the solar rising. Samhain saw cattle being led into winter shelter. Beltane was the time for them to be led back out to pasture. On both occasions they would be driven through twin bonfires. This fiery passage offered protection against the supernatural forces whose power surged at these interzonal periods, when corporeal and spirit worlds were in close proximity, like the earth and moon at perigee. Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream dramatises this interpenetration of parallel worlds, blending fantasies of antiquity and British otherworld folklore with the formal dance of Tudor pageantry. At the same time, it allegorises the confusing intoxication of love and desire, the awakening of which is another key element of May Day revels. Whilst the title would seem to fix the date, there are various references to May Day which suggest that the play's nocturnal entanglements take place on May Eve, and that May Day ritual, revel and romance is on everybody's mind. Lysander speaks of the wood, a league without the town, where I did meet once with Helena to do observance to a morn of May. The enraged Hermia spits out, how am I, thou painted maypole? Speak, I am not so low but that my nails can reach unto thine eyes. And Theseus speculates, no doubt they rose up early to observe the rite of May. The interaction of human and fairy worlds, with the appearance of Shakespeare's versions of Puck, also referred to as Robin Goodfellow and Hobgoblin, and the king and queen of the fairies over on Titania, certainly points to May Eve as the more appropriate frame for the night's dramas. This unanchored calendrical vagueness creates a moon-dappled superimposition of festive periods, which blurs and transcends the rigidly linear grid of time, a grid which is dissolved and dispersed like drifting fog in the eternal lands of dream. So yeah, that kind
fascinating.
That sums up the feeling of these rituals and folk song in general.
Absolutely, I think it's fascinating, as you were saying earlier, about the juxtaposition of different festivals. That each festival has its polar opposite. So Beltane has Samhain, the summer solstice has the winter solstice. Yeah, Imbolc has what would it be Lunasag.
Yeah, but you can almost imagine these on if you can picture a globe in your mind, you can imagine these on different sectors of the globe kind of facing each other.
Absolutely, and they have a interesting kind of relationship with one another. I mean, and if you look at the mythology behind those festivals, you can sort of see the different characters playing off against each other. Certainly. Obviously, you have kind of the classic one be the Oak King and the Holly King that kind of have their rivalry and swapping roles. Yeah.
Well, what music are we going to have next? Let's you carry on, John. I'll seek out something on here. Let's have a bit of. What can we have?
What have we got next?
Well, let's have.
Shall we? Sorry about this, everyone. It's a somewhat ad hoc show this week, as we are without our regular hosts. Those of you who are regular listeners will have probably tuned in expecting to hear Alison and Richard presenting today. They are both off in the field, no doubt investigating odd happenings as they do. Normal service will most likely resume next week. In the meantime, you're listening to the Exe Files on Phonic FM 106.8 and online at www.phonic.fm, and you're here with your temporary hosts, Jonathan Dymond and Jez Winship.
That's right.
And Jez is just about to play us.
We're going to go local now. We're going to have a very local Devon ghost story. In fact, pretty much an Exeter ghost story.
Hold for me and hear my lady say, now pray step in and make no din, I pray thee come inside. There's room I vow by me
Well, that's another cautionary bit of folk music.
Well, yes, don't get in the lady's carriage.
Don't get in
God's
spooky
sake. Yeah, as if you'd be tempted to anyway.
I know, you're out hitchhiking, you feel like...
Yeah, but yeah, if you see a spectral carriage turn up, and it turns up in Cathedral Green, apparently, according to various tales. Here it is from Suze Gardner's book on haunted Exeter. After the first fall of snow each winter, it is advisable to avoid Cathedral Green at night. Anyone foolhardy enough to go there may see a ghostly hearse pulled by 4 black horses carrying the body of the merchant's daughter. No tracks are left in the snow, either from the wheels or the horses' hooves. Riding in the coach is a pale lady with piercing eyes, dressed in white. It is said that anyone who sees the coach will die soon after. The Death Coach, a poem about the apparition, was written in the 1800s about Lady Howard of Devon. Now pray step in, my lady saith, now pray step in and ride. I thank thee, I had rather walk than gather to thy side. The wheels go round without a sound or tramp of horses' hooves, as cloud at night in pale moonlight along the carriage steals. I'd rather walk 100 miles and run by night and day than have that carriage halt for me and hear my lady say, now pray step in and make no din, step in with me to ride. There's room, I trow, by me for you and all the world beside. Yeah, don't get in that coach, folks. Avoid.
If you're wandering home tonight and you see spooky coaches...
Yeah,
it's worth walking,
particularly if they're in Cathedral Green. But that was Dead Maid's Land. That was from an album called Dead Maid's Land, which is basically composed of songs collected by the Reverend Sabine Baring Gould, a vicar who had his parish in Lew Trenchard, and was a great collector of folk songs, also of folklore, and also wrote a book called The Book of the Werewolves, which was a book that was instrumental in the writing of Dracula. Bram Stoker read that in the British Library, and that was basically why he had Dracula transforming into a wolf as he leaps off the Demeter when it lands in Whitby. So Sabine Baring Gould was very, very important in the writing of Dracula. And Lew Trenchard Church is also a fabulous church out in the wilds of Devon, near the edge of Dartmoor. Some amazing things in there, because he was also very much into preserving the medieval sculptures and art of churches, which were being willfully thrown away and destroyed in the great Victorian revival of the times. So Lew Trenchard Church is also a treasure house of old.
Yes, well, a lot of these old churches have a lot of quite sort of blatantly pre-Christian iconography in them, and I know this is a kind of passion of yours.
Absolutely, yeah. And Lew Trenchard Church is great. There are also some sisters called the Pinwell sisters, these Edwardian sisters, who sound very demure, but some of their carvings are quite visceral. And in Lew Trenchard Church, Sabine Baring Gould's church, you can find if you look carefully at the pulpits, you can find some very vividly carved demons that the demure Pinwell sisters
I always think that whenever you find demons in churches, they've been kind of carved. They're supposed to be there as sort of warnings. If you do wrong, you'll end up with these characters, but they always look like they've been created with so much more glee and sort of happiness by the craftspeople than the kind of sombre angels. Or
well, it's the classic Bosch thing. It
looks much more fun.
Yeah, Hieronymus Bosch's hell is much more interesting than his paradise.
Absolutely.
And there's some great demons in Ashcombe Church. At the bottom. quite near Dawlish, at the bottom of the Hordern Hills. You find nestled down there a church called Ashcombe. It's usually locked, but you can find the key in a nearby house. And if you go in there, there are bench ends carved in the 16th century, I think, which have these extraordinarily gruesome demons on the end, demons and serpents, and they're really just so vivid. You can almost feel that they could come to life at any moment. And, yeah. So, where are we gonna go next? Well, I've got this track queued up, so let's go there. Magpie Lane with Juniper, Gentle and Rosemary from Songs of Witchcraft and Magic, which is a CD produced by the Museum of Witchcraft in Boscastle.
Excellent.
There were 3 sisters fair and bright, Juniper, Gentle and Rosemary, and they 3 loved one valiant night as the dew flies over the mulberry tree. And the eldest sister let him in,
was an interesting kind of riddle song, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. From a CD that comes from the Museum of Witchcraft in Boscastle.
Indeed. It's an interest. I think it's an interest. That's another kind of trope of folklore and folk music, is the answering of riddles being something that sort of saves a character.
Definitely, yeah.
Whether it's kind of Tolkien and the riddles in The Hobbit, or songs like this. Seems to be one of those sort of stories that gets cropped up again and again, and sort of borrowed for whoever happens to be.
Yeah, and it also
doing it at the time.
Kind of touches on plant lore, doesn't it? The juniper, gentle, and rosemary are a magical protective plant.
Well, often these riddles have the riddle, so they're kind of clever trick of words, but they're also a lesson of what you can do with a certain, and in this case, a plant. Or
just in terms of the rhythm of the words, juniper, gentle, and rosemary kind of roll off the tongue.
Absolutely,
they sound good, and it makes for a good chorus.
Yes, and that when it comes down to it, that's what.
Well, yeah, but that's the essence of a good invocation, isn't it? It is something that
it's something that has a rhythm. It's the kind of the whole point of
its language as something that's musical in and of itself.
Absolutely. Well, we're just about at the end of our of our show here.
I haven't really got time to read that.
You've been listening to the Exe Files on Phonic FM 106.8 and online at www.phonic.fm. We're going to leave you with one more song.
Yeah, just to show that folk isn't all about traditional stuff from the past, and that there's still magical music being made today. We're going to have a little bit from my absolute favourite group, so this is an indulgence for me. This is Broadcast, along with a focus group from their album Broadcast, and the focus group investigate witch cults of the radio age, and this is The Bee Colony.